Hello, this is me, Daniel East 1000, back again with another video. Yes, indeed, it's been a while, but that really feeds into this video, actually, because, well, the reason why we're not in the Figgie room, if you can tell the difference between the Figgie room and this room, is mainly because of two reasons. It's bloody hot today, and I don't fancy sitting upstairs sweating my nads off. At least not any more than I already am, because it's quite hot today and I do not cope well in the heat. And number two, it's because it's a little bit untidy up there, to be honest with you. And no, it's not because I'm a disgusting top floor dweller. It's because I've kind of had to do a bit of adulting. I say me and my girlfriend, more so my girlfriend, have been trying to sort our flat out. We've been trying to furnish it. We've been trying to make it a bit more livable and a bit more nicer. Unfortunately, it can't go both ways. And upstairs is in the state it's in at the minute. Not that it's a bad state, it's just I've got lots of ideas in my head of how I want the Figgie room to be. That's kind of where this video is leading into. It's not the most interesting video perhaps that I will ever make, but I'm hoping this video will at least be useful to some people who are looking to start collecting or are wanting their collection out on display, I suppose. So this is my top 3. I know it's only 3, but they're the only ones I could think of. Things you need to consider when making a Figgie room. This can be applied into not just Figgies, but any hobby really. You just have to change some of the formulas, I suppose. And a little bit of a shout here, but I got most of these ideas from Sith Lord 229's display when I've been around to his. He's got a phenomenal setup, and a lot of these ideas have kind of been borrowed from him. I've got a list and I've been checking it twice. So, number 1, consider your room space. This is the first step you really need to consider. So you've got some really cool stuff, like me, out on the floor. You just want to get it out on display. You want people to see it. Problem is, if you start just buying shelves and bookcases and whatever you're going to go for, spoiler alert, that comes in the next tip, it's going to look a little mismatched and potentially messy. The ergonomics of your room you really need to consider. You need to understand how your room operates. And that sounds really weird when I say that, but if you have a window that's directly onto your figures, especially clone troopers, this is one thing I really need to stress to people. Hide your clone troopers now, because if you leave them in direct sunlight, you're going to suffer yellowing. A Figgie collector's absolute worst nightmare. I haven't experienced it yet, and I do not look forward to the day when that happens. White clone trooper that you had that is now sunburnt yellow, and it's... you don't want that. So luckily for me, in my planning of this room, I decided to go for the room which had no direct sunlight. That's not going to entirely protect it if I'm not mistaken, but it helps combat it. If you do have a window, then you would probably have to consider ways of, you know, blocking out sunlight for extended amounts of time. But that's the kind of thing that I'm talking about here. How your doors open. You know, you don't want to put a cabinet somewhere where a door directly swings into it, because... So you really need to consider that. And the best way to do it is draw a very rough sketch of your room. If you want to do it super detailed with like measurements and accuracy, go right ahead. That can only help you even more when it comes to the next step that I'm going to tell you, which I've already kind of spoiled for you. On that, you can also work out where things may go, where lighting is, because lighting, for me, I find it's incredibly difficult, because I'm really trying to consider how I can light my figures, because I hate having figures that are far back be, you know, shrouded in shadow where you can't really see them. Having a drawn sketch of your room layout can make you understand how it's laid out, what your limitations are. For example, with me, my room has a wall like that, but then one of the walls has, where the roof would be, a slant. You can see it in a picture there. So it's kind of, in some ways, a bit awkward in how it looks and where stuff could probably go. But you can maybe take that as a design advantage. I am, at least. So stuff like that is something, if you have it, you should maybe consider and plan around or try and work with. Having a picture with how your room's laid out, with dimensions and other bits of information you personally need, it can only help you and save you money and not wasting it on, well, what we're going to talk about next in number 2, furniture and accessories. Me personally, I want a space where I can just get my Figgie mojo on. And the furniture that you buy will be personal to you. Because I do my YouTube, because I like doing creative things, I want a desk. I want somewhere where I can just, immerse myself in kind of what I'm doing. Just a little quiet space. So I'm planning to have a desk which I can put in the corner of the room. And I'm going with bookcases which I'm going to line underneath where that ridge of the roof is, where I'm going to have my figures on show. The slightly bigger stuff can sit on top of those bookcases, so like vehicles and things like that. Now I'm going for bookcases because shelves can be a little bit time consuming. They also leave drill hole marks, and when the time comes for me to leave this flat, I'm going to have to fill them up, and I really don't want to fill those marks in. Although if you own a house, this won't be something you need to worry about too much. My approach to it won't be the same as yours, because you may be someone who collects hot toys, and if you collect hot toys, you would probably be more inclined to go with something that's a bit more high-end in terms of your display. So you'll probably want to get some glass cabinets so people can actually see and admire the figures that you've bought, because they are super highly detailed. Naturally as well, you're going to want decent lighting on that, and this is something I'm really wanting as well, and this feeds into what I'm doing with mine. This goes with accessories, lighting, push lightings. You can get different sorts of lights. I need to look into it personally, really. I love having my figures out on show. The only problem is having them in rows and rows like that, a lot of those figures are going to get covered in shadow, and I really want to avoid that, so I want to get some push lights. And something else I've been considering as well, you can get these like display steps which can raise and slightly separate your figures so you can actually get a better look at them. I mean, there's lots of things you could consider. I really want to put a poster in my room. A little bit of vanity here, but I want a poster of the short film that I directed in my room, either a canvas or something like that. I don't know, I just want it in my room. It's like, hey, this is also a thing I did. Cheeky little plug there. But again, that's a personal thing for me, and you might want something different, You might be someone who collects some of the film cells or like film memorabilia. So there might be something cool that you want to hang up like that. I don't know. It's just really thinking about different ways you can display things or have it shown off in the best way. And that's the point that I'm really making with this. Number 3, budget. I hate talking about money, but it does need to be done sometimes. And it's all well and good just running out to the shops and buying things. But the problem is that amount for like storage and shelving and things like that, that can amount up pretty high and quite quickly. So what you can really do is, to combat that, write a list. Put rough ideas of how much you want to get stuff for. If you've got the money for it, by all means go to IKEA. But if you're a little bit thrifty, Facebook has a wonderful thing called Facebook Marketplace, and you can get things for fairly reasonable prices. Some people even offer things for free. The only problem is you just need to organise how you're going to be able to pick it up. If you've got a car, it shouldn't be too much of a problem, but if it's a bigger thing, then you're going to need a man with a van, of which costs. I mean, petrol costs as well, so you need to kind of factor that in. It's safe to say as well, you don't need, and I mean, I'm guilty of this, I really want to rush out and just buy all the stuff and get my room sorted, so I should really listen to my own advice here, but you can pace yourself. You don't need to buy it all in one go. So really overall, it's you as an individual. If you're happy with how your collection looks, that's great. If you're someone who wants to do it as a work in progress, fantastic. If you're someone who just really wants to get it over and done with and sorted and looking, bang on, then you can do that. There's lots of different ways you can do it. It's just really a case of considering your space, considering the style of furnishings you want to go for. And number 3, if it fits in your budget. I think the main thing or point I want to nail down here is it does pay to take your time with things. And the more time you take to consider things and work things out, the less trouble or pointless cack really you're going to buy. See, that's all I've really got to say on the matter, but what do you think? Let me know in the comments below. How do you display your collection? Are you currently thinking about how you're going about things? Or have you already sorted out your collection? Are you happy with how it is? For me personally, it's always an ongoing thing. Let me know in the comments below. And this is me, Daniel East 1000, signing out. Thank you very much for watching.